Hey guys, so I am completely exhausted. As a lot of you guys know, the past 30 days have just been really insane in the markets, which is a great thing. But I'm really tired, so I don't want to do this video, but I think it's very, very important and something needs to be said because nobody else is saying it. I want to talk about the truth of Bitcoin exchanges. Okay, as a lot of you guys know, I'm a trader. I trade in the futures market, in the stock market, and now Bitcoin. And I've been doing that for over a decade now. And I see some patterns emerging in the Bitcoin world that I've seen in other markets that I think are very important. And history tends to repeat itself, right? And I think there's so many people who are new to trading or new to the financial markets through Bitcoin that I just want to get this message out there as a warning. And if I can save one person money, then it'll make doing this video well worth it. So, as you guys know, if you've been watching my videos over the past few months, I basically said that MtGox is a joke. I think they're insolvent. I don't know, I can't say, and I am not a technical person, meaning I don't write or read code. I have programmers that work for our company that do that. And from what I've seen and what I understand, I just don't trust any of the Bitcoin exchanges, but in particular, I don't trust MtGox at all. I will trade through every other exchange, every other major exchange out there except MtGox because of a lot of the issues. And now some of that stuff is starting to come up. And I'm a little pissed off because I see some of the public figures in the Bitcoin space who are telling people things that I don't necessarily agree with. Just to kind of give you a little example, Mr. Andreas, I appreciate and respect all the work that you've done in the Bitcoin community. But this morning you said, as much as I dislike MtGox for their serial incompetence and communication failures, they're not insolvent or frauds. No evidence of that. My argument, and as I wrote down to you a little bit later, I have to respectfully disagree with you. Now, I don't know for sure. If you know something that we don't, please tell us. But in my opinion, the burden of proof is on MtGox to prove that they are solvent. And the fact that the CEO, Mark, whatever his name is not saying anything or is not out there screaming from the rooftops, look, guys, we're solvent and here's proof. The fact that he's not doing that is a huge red flag to me. And again, I'm speaking from experience. To give you a little bit of history, as a futures trader, we recently had two major scandals that cost people hundreds of millions of dollars. And this is a regulated, United States-based futures market. This isn't, the wild west of Bitcoin that we're talking about here. People have lost hundreds of millions of dollars because brokers do shady things. Exchanges do shady things. MF Global, and I'll link this up in the video, just an example, they basically took on risk with their own traders, people that had accounts with them. They risked their own traders' money and lost a ton of money. Another one was PFG, and you can read this. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I see similar patterns. I see some of the same stuff emerging with some of the exchanges. And the fact that the exchanges aren't regulated and they're not all US based is a huge concern. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a huge fan of Bitcoin and I love the decentralized and unregulated nature of it. But when it comes to actually trading and trusting an exchange to hold your value, that's a big thing, and I don't think people understand how important it really is. This was a statement that MtGox put out, and I'm going to read this in kind of my own words. If you're not familiar with what happened, they're basically freezing everybody's account. You can't pull money out, you can't pull Bitcoin out. And again, I predicted this months ago, guys. You can go back and look at my videos, look at my webinar recordings. I've been screaming to people and pleading, do not trade through MtGox because I see this coming. And yesterday it happened. Dear MtGox customers, in an effort to resolve the issue encountered by various Bitcoin withdrawals, so we're having trouble, pulling your Bitcoin out, it was determined that the increase in the flow of withdrawal requests has hindered our efforts on a technical level. So in other words, so many people are trying to pull their Bitcoin out that it's kind of screwed things up on a technical level. To understand the issue, we need to keep the system in a static state. In other words, we need to freeze everything until we figure out what's going on. And they kind of repeat themselves here a couple of times. We apologize for the sudden short notice. All withdrawal requests will be on pause, and then withdrawals will be returned, blah, blah, blah. Look, there are one of 4 reasons, or maybe multiple of these reasons, but there's really probably one of 4 reasons why they're doing this, okay? Anytime that a broker, like a stockbroker or a bank or an exchange or even a friend you've lent money to is holding your money because of an issue, you always want to assume the worst, but it's usually one of 4 reasons. Number 1, they're not solvent. They've lost your money. They've given it away, they've spent it, or they just don't have it. That means they're not solvent. Number 2, they really are having technical issues, right? That could mean one of a million things. And again, I'm just a trader. I'm just an investor and a trading educator. I'm not a technical guy. I don't really understand. So if you know something that I don't, please feel free to post it in the comments below. Number 3, they're under investigation and they need to freeze everything until they figure out what's going on, which I think they've actually said that. I'm not 100% sure. Or number 4, they're just not willing to allow a run on the bank. They know that everybody's trying to pull their money out and they go, nope, we're not going to let that happen. We don't have to let that happen. One of those 4 things is at least true. And I can't really speak to, the fact that it is or isn't true. One thing I'm going to say is don't trust any exchange. I keep a lot of my Bitcoins in cold storage, meaning either in paper wallets or in some kind of hard drive that's not connected to the internet. And I diversify through some of the trading exchanges, and I do have some hard, software computer wallets as well that are encrypted and backed up and stuff. So just be smart. Don't trust any exchanges, especially MtGox. And if you ever think that there's an issue or you don't think something seems quite right, odds are it's not. Because again, if MtGox was solvent, if they knew what was going on, the CEO would be out there publicly proclaiming their solvency. And I think it's a real shitty thing that he's hiding from people. And an example of that is this guy on Reddit just posted this. And I ignore 99% of the stuff that I see on Reddit. But I think that this story is very interesting. So Coin Searcher, thank you for posting this. And if this stuff is true, this points to a really big issue. Again, I can't vouch for this guy. I just read this story, but there are people in the comments of this story that are vouching that this story is true. Basically what he's saying, I think this is an Australian guy that he flew from Australia to the MtGox offices in Tokyo and basically started demanding answers and started a little one-man protest outside of the offices there. And eventually, you can read through this, he asked these guys some very hard questions, and they were very, very closed doors about it. And again, I just think that's fishy. I think that's a huge red flag. If nothing was really wrong, they would be out there proclaiming that. So I do think something big is happening. There have been some recent talks with Russia. There's been some, problems with Apple removing the blockchain app from the App Store. So the other day, yesterday actually, there was a big panic. And I've actually been in meetings for the past 2 days, so I wasn't able to catch this. But I did post a chart on TradingViews. Excuse me. I did post a chart on TradingViews where I talk about, what happened and what we were looking for. And thankfully, a lot of people actually caught this short, and some people even bought on the dip here and made a little bit of money. So the good news is we're starting to see some volatility in Bitcoin. The bad news is, and this is the challenge with Bitcoin, is it's very difficult to trust exchanges. And that's why I'm still more a fan of trading futures and trading stocks than I am Bitcoin, because there's just so much unknown. Long term, I'm bullish. I think the protocol is a good thing. And Andreas, as you said, Bitcoin is for the 6 or whatever billion people that don't have access to basic financial services. And I agree with that. But I just want to help people be smart and just not to trust anybody outside of the Bitcoin protocol. So please like up the video, share it with your friends. I hope this is helpful. Subscribe to the channel. and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.